Hi, I'm Karina Cheever, a farm planner with the Whatcom Conservation District. Welcome to our Spring Virtual Pasture Tour series. This spring we will be visiting 5 separate farms throughout Whatcom County and looking at how the grass is growing differently each month. Today we're going to Raegen's farm in Pasture and we'll be looking at how his grass is growing currently and what's happening in the soil below.
I'm Raegen Miller, and I'm farming about 5 acres here in Pasture, Washington, and we've got Icelandic sheep, currently 6. Starting in 2018, we began the planning process with Katie, and then that led to doing some specific improvements using a grant from the Conservation District. This included some gutters on the side of the barn and some other drainage-related things, and then plus we're using the tarps to cover our manure pile. Well, during the winter wet months, we want to keep the animals in most of the time, and the reason is that we don't want a lot of mud. Mud can get up into their fleece, which isn't good for its value. There's other health problems, and it's not really great for the soil. It just gets more compacted the muddier it gets.
So the new growth that you are seeing this spring is really driven by what's happening in the soil. All winter long, the soil is too cold and the grass is dormant. What's happening in the spring is as that soil is warming, and once it reaches around 65 degrees, that's when you really get the microbes and the fungi being active. That activity in the soil is those microorganisms converting your residual organic matter into plant available nitrogen, which is being uptaken by the roots and getting your grass going. This is why roots are so important to the health of your pasture. Grazing below 3 inches will decrease the amount of roots that your grass is putting out and limit the amount of nutrients that your plant can uptake.
Well, our pasture is kind of a legacy of all kinds of plants, and we don't know exactly what all the species are. I planted some pretty ordinary pasture. We'll probably have to go with just a generic idea that when the grass is about 10 inches tall, maybe a little less, it's time to start having the sheep cut into swaths of it. And then we make sure to move them every 4 days, and this is for minimizing parasite load. We use an electric netting scheme, which is extremely handy. We have a hot wire running around on the heavy fence. You just have to hook up to that. It runs really nicely off of the solar, and the sheep seem to respect it quite adequately. The only trick is that almost any place on this pasture where you care to step a spike in, you hit rocks. So you have to be a little patient as you're setting the fences. But they're easy to move, and it seems like a great system. The last year was our first full year with sheep on the pasture, and we did some just sort of experimentation, moving them around and seeing what things looked like. And it was clear we needed to bring in some amendments. So we brought in lime and put down about 20 bags of lime. We overseeded on top of that, but before anything we had it just mowed and scratched up. We haven't spread manure on the pasture ourselves yet. We kind of think the sheep are mostly in charge of that, and the chickens to some extent. We will at some point probably take the surplus manure and winter bedding and spread it on the field, but that's kind of a chore, and we would need to bring in special machinery to do that. There might be also some potential for bringing manure from off the property as well, but we don't know if that's really necessary yet. One of our main goals here is to really minimize the inputs necessary for the soil quality to improve and to get the production we're after.
Now that your soil temperatures have warmed up, it's a great opportunity to take a soil test to help prepare for the 2021 growing season. Soil samples are a great tool to assess your current available nutrients and also see if there are amendments you could be adding if you weren't reaching your forage production goals. Thanks for joining us today on our first virtual pasture tour. Next month, we will be visiting with Don on his cattle farm and learning how he uses his annual soil test to design his fertilizer application schedule for the following growing season. If you have any questions about today's video or are interested in your own pasture assessment, you can contact me at the Whatcom Conservation District or visit our website for more details on our farm planning services.